Hi, it's Dan from Vision Brokers and Advisors in Sydney. This is our first video for 2020 relevant to buyers, and we've entitled this video, What to Prepare Before You Start Looking for a Business. We'll get into it in just a moment. What I will say is that most buyers that we speak to are not prepared before they go and start their search in the marketplace. And it hurts them. It makes the process harder. It means they're in a worse position to negotiate on price and terms. Preparation can make a huge difference to your ability to achieve a sale for a great price and great terms. So let's get first of all into the what. What will a buyer need to start preparing before they start looking for a business? This is more so mental preparation, and it's really a great idea to think about these sorts of skills that you have. What skills do you possess? You know, you might be really great at marketing, you might be really great at sales, you might be really great at people management. Write a list and shortlist your 3 or your 4 best skills. Whatever your skills are, you want to be looking for a business that's lacking in those areas so that you can add the most amount of value to that business. The next thing to think about is, what are you passionate about? A really good friend of mine has just informed me he is selling his business after around a year of owning his business. It was a new industry for him, which he hadn't worked in before. And he's realized that he's just not passionate about the sort of work. The work has become very repetitive and mundane to him, and he is not enjoying the work. So work out what you are passionate about along with your skill set, and that should give you a fairly clear idea of what sort of industry you might be looking at. The next thing that's really important to think about is location. We're not talking about the location of the business here. We're talking about the distance between where you live, where you sleep at night, and the business. Think about how long, or what is a comfortable amount of travel time for you to go to work every day and come home from work every day. A business I lived 50 meters away, and I had that business for a while, and after 6 months, I felt like I couldn't escape, so I had to move further away. On the other side of the spectrum, I have a friend who travels 2.5 hours each way. That's 5 hours of travel a day to his business. He loves audiobooks, so I think that's crazy, but work out what is the right amount of travel time between your home and your business for you. For most people, I think it's under an hour. The next thing is, are you buying a business for growth? Are you buying a business for growth? Generally speaking, if you're buying a business for growth, it means that it's underperforming, or it means you can add a lot of value to the business, but you're buying a business for growth because you've identified that the business can be grown substantially, which means you're most likely paying a smaller price for the business. So think about, again, your level of skills and passion. Are you able to grow that business? It also means that you may not necessarily be receiving the returns immediately from the business that you desire. So think about if you're looking for capital growth in your business, or are you looking for returns? If you're looking for returns, it will most likely mean that from the time that you step into the business and you hand the check over, and from the first day, you'll most likely be making a reasonable return. However, your capital growth probably will be a little bit limited because the business is probably performing fairly well, and this will also speak to the price that you'll be paying. It will probably be a more expensive business, or you'll be paying closer to a more premium price for the business. So decide whether or not you're looking for growth or return. It's difficult to get both. The next thing is the how. How are you going to buy a business? And the first thing to think about is finance. Probably, time, you've heard this before, time is the killer of deals. And probably 90% of buyers that we speak to have not arranged their financial circumstances before they've started inquiring on a business. One of the things that you should be doing before you start looking for a business is going and speaking to your finance provider if you need finance, to make sure that you will have, or to understand how much you can borrow. They might be able to give you a ballpark based on your circumstances. Some of them may not give you a formal pre-approval until there's a business to actually consider at hand. However, make sure that you have started the conversation with your broker or your banker to understand ballpark what you can borrow and what the process will be in terms of being able to access that money. So that's really, really important. Start off the conversation with your broker or bank before you start looking for a business. The next is your credentials. I'm yet to meet. If you will be the first one, well done to you. But I'm yet to meet a buyer who has actually taken the time to prepare their credentials. Credentials are really important in the business sale because you've got third parties that are going to be contributing to the success of that sale, such as a landlord. So having your credentials in place, what we mean by credentials are things like your resume, references from your accountant or previous employers. You can have a sort of a marketing plan summary already prepared, or a business plan summary already prepared, even if you don't have a business at hand yet to talk about in your business, but you can at least have templates there ready to go. Get your credentials ready so that when you hit the market, sellers will immediately respond to the fact that you're showing that you're prepared and you're showing that you have taken steps before you've even started looking at their business. They will respond in ways you can't imagine because they can see that you're serious. They can see that you are probably going to be a really safe bet in terms of finishing the transaction. And in most cases, they'll actually be a little bit more flexible on financial consideration and non-financial terms. So credentials is a really, really big one. Next one is professional relationships. What professional relationships do you need in place before you start looking for a business? And this is relevant not just to things like your accountant and your solicitor. If you don't have an accountant and a solicitor, one of the first things you need to do is you need to call them up and understand call them up and make contact with them and let them know that you're buying a business, and they will always give you some great advice in your first phone call and give you a pathway to follow, which should be nice and clear for you. So always get in touch with your accountant and solicitor. But what we're referring to here, the professional relationships that are industry specific. So for example, you might be buying a business that is in food and beverage manufacturing. We sell a lot of those sorts of businesses. Well, think about your industry and think about how you could benefit from establishing professional relationships with, suppliers, potential new customers, importers, anything that can help you to hit the ground running when you've purchased the business. Because when you're in the middle of a business sale, you're not going to have a lot of time to do things like this, and you want to and as soon as you've purchased the business, you're going to be really busy learning the business. So establish professional relationships with industry-specific organizations and individuals before you start looking for a business and after you've decided what industry you're looking at. Okay, the next in what you should prepare before you start looking for a business is when. And the first thing to think about is you should allow 6 months. 6 months time frame to an exchange of contract. 6 months means that you'll have enough time to consider multiple businesses, and that's really important. Also, when you think about an exchange of contract, sometimes the time between exchange and settlement can also be another couple of months. So factor that in terms of thinking about your return on investment. But the big when I think that we really want to touch on is think about your personal commitments. This I think is a lot of people get this wrong. They've got prior commitments. They have a baby on the way. They may have medical appointments. They may have travel planned. They may have commitments with family that have been set for a long time, and obviously these are going to disrupt the sale time of a business. And as I said before, time can be the killer of all deals. So think about what those commitments are, and you don't necessarily need to change the commitments, but you need to communicate them with the seller so that the seller is in the loop around what is going on and why the sales process might be a little bit delayed. Think about those commitments, communicate with them with the seller through the broker, or if you're dealing with a seller direct, communicate everything to them so that they're not left in the lurch. They're not starting to think, maybe I should go and find another buyer, and make sure that everyone is really happy in the transaction, because that's really important for you, the buyer. You want the seller to be happy in the transaction, just like they want you to be happy in the transaction. Okay, so that's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Next video, we're going to talk about how to inquire on a business, how to inquire on a business successfully. Most buyers don't do a great job of this. So I want to talk about what you can do, some really small changes you can use to make sure that you get great responses from brokers and great responses from sellers, and make sure they identify you as someone who's really, really serious. And it's all just about making a few little simple tweaks to your first couple of communication dialogues with the prospective seller or with the broker. So if you can't wait for that next video, then please get in touch with us. We are really trying to educate the broader market, and we'd love it if you would share this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe, please hit the notification bell. We're trying to grow our following, so we definitely appreciate that. And our motto is to try to transcend the standards of the business broking industry, and we really hope that these videos go a small way towards doing that. So thank you very much for watching. Happy buying, and we hope to hear from you. Bye.